Yo, yo, yo. Okay. Okay. Excellent. Let's start. So, gonna have to turn down the music a bit. So everybody, I was going to do a little update on where we are in production. Let me turn down the volume of the game. Yeah. So that's better. We'll have some of it. So I had a bit of a holiday. Took the family to France. That was really needed because after the work I've been doing on the smaller updates, after the Edge, at some point you need a break from a game because it becomes quite, how do you call it, tiring, and you can't see the literally the trees for the forest because it's you're just grinding down work and you don't have that fresh perspective, so, and that diminishes enthusiasm for it, etc., etc. That means that where I left off, and we're already talking probably June, early June about this, was doing some work on the selection for Bulwark so that you had these highlighted selections to fix the 3D depth selection in the game. The feedback on there, the people were, am I clicking on a building? Am I clicking behind the building? Which is an eternal problem. Are you, is it where the mouse is, or is it where the mouse is projected on the ground? Which might be entirely different things based on how you use your mouse. In Bulwark, because it's a 3D interface, the cursor draws out this 3D build line which you've used, and the end of the build line is actually a 3D object, and that's where the selection happens. This was confusing, and so I added this highlighting where the entire tower, which is closest to your cursor, you don't even need to be anywhere near it, or roughly over it, gets highlighted on this is what's going to be selected if you press anything. I think that worked really well. I haven't seen any negative reviews or feedback for people that didn't like that update. That update hasn't made it to console, because as always, console updates are really expensive. The publisher has to do it. They have to hire a Q&A. They have to hire a producer to make sure all the writing is correct. All the language is approved by Sony and Microsoft, and that takes months and months, or not months, takes weeks, can go days if you're really lucky. But that process is involved. That's right. So what we do is I get to fuck around on Steam and do whatever I want, and then once enough updates are there, we'll bundle them and they shipped off, hopefully usually together with the big content update to the consoles and the other stores. This is also practical because since that's such a big process and Bulwark's out on nearly every platform except Nintendo, this includes EGS and GOG with the DRM free version. It's a lot of work to make the versions and then debug any of those versions if issues arise. So that's best to have one platform where I can see your feedback, get it in, and get the build stable, and then push it over so that those people have a less buggy version. And I don't need to be in 5 different stores at once reading all that feedback, because that's inhumanly possible. So we had some building in the house and went on holiday, which was good. I came back, sort of refreshed, and then I had to dive into Gamescom, because like the summer, as you can tell from all these summer game shows, summer of games, it's also the period where you do all your business development. So you talk to, if you have a game out for pitch to publishers, talk to your own publishers, talk to press, go to events. I went and showcased something new at the, how do you call it? The Gamescom Courage XL, which is just like a side event, and what I showed is not announced. But I want to give you a quick preview because I did show it at the event. So this is not officially announced. There's no launch date for it. It's still in development. It's taking longer than I expected. That is also because it is technically a remaster of Falconeer, and getting that into the market is really difficult. It's not easy, especially if you're not a AAA. But I wanted to quickly show you that it's not like a cash grab. It is a proper, spectacular, bringing the Falconeer up to date to the same visual standard and beyond of Bulwark. And also, I wanted to bring the back end, all the technology, fix all the bugs and issues and complaints that have been there about the Falconeer, about certain key bindings and stuff like that, and bring it up to the code base to the modern standards for sequels, but also so that I can pick which code base to use for a future game. So I had to, bring everything up to that, and that was a lot of fun, and that actually is what I've also been spending my time on the last 8 months. And since I'm all by myself, I'm juggling Bulwark and Falconeer. But I'm going to give you a quick look at what that's like. So you will see the visuals are completely redone, but it's also the portraits, but also some of the gameplay. Again, let's skip over to it because it's starting up. So up here we go. So this is, if you played the Falconeer, same intro, but you can already see that everything looks a lot more evolved. I want to say, so you can especially see that's not just taking. Let me skip that. So put the volume way down. So it's not particularly just taking stuff I made for Bulwark into Falconeer, because there's certainly some of that, because that's how it started. I wasn't feeling creative, and I was messing around with Falconeer, just looking. Maybe I can bring some of the, the towns and all the little houses in and make some handmade towns, make it just look nice, to see if that art style, because Bulwark is way more detailed than Falconeer, like way more. And that's why it's not a Nintendo Switch. It just doesn't run. It's like, the Falconeer did 600,000 triangles, and Bulwark does 15 million, on a good day. So it's a whole different ballgame. I did that, and it sort of escalated. But I also made a lot of art for this update, for the Falconeer remaster, that I'm now porting back into Bulwark. So everything's getting some new stuff. The first thing you'll notice is, here's not much spectacular actually, because this is very much similar, is the portraits have been updated. I will give you, you can see a little bit more of the, let's take, what's the chapter we'll do, will not reveal too much. But the portraits have been taken up to Bulwark level, but it's not the same implementation. So I've advanced some other things, made it look still slightly different, because there are visual style difference between Falconeer and Bulwark, and I had a fool with that. But here you can see what's going on. We have portraits. There is some new class of items as well that you can buy, but the first most obvious thing is, if we fly into the world, if you remember Dunkel, it was very simplistic. It was just a few of the most low-poly buildings on Earth, and now it's an entire town taking new assets, old assets. All those boats are in the harbor. It's even expanded to the other island. So the town has had an upgrade. So it's manually designed, and I'll do one location, because we're not officially announcing anything. I just want to show you what I'm working on. So this is Northgate, which used to be a really tiny island, but it's now got its unique set piece. That's not a Bulwark thing. That's completely new for the Falconeer. It's sort of I don't know how to call it. Something from a different age. And then, of course, in it, I wanted something to feel a little bit more like something you'd see in Assassin's Creed, rather than, the minimalist, a proper something that feels like a city, so that the world is just a bit more epic. And the other thing I did... Oh, I don't want to land here, actually. Well, we'll land. There's some new stuff coming, which I wanted to show, not while landing. Quickly, is that if you look closely, and we'll give it as... lots of things have been upgraded. The water, the clouds, the draw distance. visual effects, everything's been handled. Nothing is literally the same, and you can see that already in just the visual. But the main difference also is just the bird. So every feather on the bird got completely redone, and many of the enemies and so had a pass like this. But the bird has the best pass, of course, because it's called Falconer. So individual feathers, armor sets. Look at that. Armor sets. You can see so much more detail. It's so much more, and that I think I've already done all the enemies as well. They're slightly simpler. But for instance, you can also see all the ships have much more rigging, or even a lot more detail than they are in Bulwark. So they were all adjusted, many more ships, much more detail. You can see these, we call them the wall, but the side rigging ladders. There's a little anchor somewhere probably. All in all, it's even though my masts seem to be... I don't know, the mast seems to be crooked. Bugs may appear. Like I said, still development. Where's my bird? One other thing that happened is some of the controls got changed, though. So flapping, acceleration is its separate button now. So no longer is that tied to the, where you're trying to accelerate and then suddenly it will roll. The roll and the dive, that's a combined button still, but it's separate from dashing. I think that was the major complaint people had, because they do these races and then they try to go to the left, but they were actually braking or something. Braking no longer exists. That is a gameplay choice. It's a move up, basically. So you have up, left, right. And what's also happened is that the collision system had quite a significant upgrade. You can still bounce into things when you hit them, but you can see you can get much closer. The collision system, and there is some collision avoidance. As you can see, the bird, if I don't move, the bird will try to avoid stuff. But if I force it down, I can fly through a lot more stuff, like when you want to fly through these holes. Okay, you can if you do it properly. Let's try a slightly bigger one. But that... and when I was at Gamescom and showing this, the thing people did was just fly around and try to, go through all the arches. See, hey, can I fly through that arch? I actually don't know if I've done with all of the... this one I don't think I've done. Oh yeah, it's just I suck at it. But before you'd be... here we go. So if you take the... So I'm still finding it, but that's one of the goals. To make it that bouncing isn't as pronounced. You can't... If you actually hit it, I can't prevent it. But I want it to be actually when you hit it. So before it was when you were, even a little bit near it, it would bounce off. So trying to listen there and make... the races are no longer required, so that's also out. They're just optional money-making events. Missions got... escort missions, I think every escort mission in the game got halved at least. So I just made the distances shorter, rebalanced that, rebalanced the entire game. The easy mode is now truly easy. Medium is still quite easy. Hardcore is how it used to be. Still hard with very little aim assist. So that's... let's see if I can... actually... just before we go, just because it's great. Here is Imperial Harbor, and if you remember the old minimal town... It's actually grown in sky. So it's not just adding stuff or improving graphics. It's become a full town to fly through. It's no longer just this small place. And you can see it goes back down there as well. So let me quit that. And so that's a little tease for Falconeer and what I've been busying on. But I'm now actually back fully on Bulwark. Re-energized, getting this update that was promised out for late summer. Don't know if it's going to be late summer. Might be September, which is technically still summer, but Doing my best, working hard on it. That update will consist of a few parts. So there's a number of improvement and bugs fixes and balance changes. So one of the things I'm working on is, for instance, in the soul tree, someone mentioned it on Steam, and I actually forgot that someone else already mentioned it, like maybe a year ago. Is that if you're here, can we have the option to fly into the map from here and go to where that commander or captain is? I think that's a fair request. There's actually something, it's not finished yet, but there will be a separate button on screen. Oh, actually need to show you the game scene. Sorry, I'm here. So I'm back in Bulwark, and there's going to be an extra button beneath the unassigned that says go to or something. And if you press then the A button or whatever, it will close the map and take you to that location. So there's a bunch of updates. Another update. There's the selection I was talking about at the start of the stream. That was the previous small update. That's not. But another change is that the price of units is now dynamic. I've done this because it's very easy to get a huge army, and it's sort of just trying to get the challenge to still a very chill and casual level, but slightly more challenging. And someone who was really unhappy about it posted a review about lots of balance, but this one I said, yeah, okay. I can't do update because I don't have that economy that ticks over where you see the splinters you are losing at any given time. That would be confusing, would require new screens and stuff, which I don't want to do at the moment. But I'm making it a prepaid upkeep. So if you have 50 units, so if you have 0 units, the price for Warward might be 100. If you have 20 units, it might be 200. If you have 80 units, it might be 500 splinters to buy that new unit. That's simple because once you have these big armies, there needs to be an upkeep, which is a mechanical, how do you call it, credit sink, as it were, to make it, painful if you lose something, because it's progressively harder to get that big armies. It's also a little bit more satisfying. It's an experiment. There might be a beta or some test for this for people to test it. These are little things I'm doing based on feedback to grow the game. Architecture-wise, this one is actually a fun one. I was going to call this update Behemoth, but I will explain later that it might be split up into two things. I'm not entirely sure. So this update definitely will have trees. So these are the trees. This is the sort of the freebooter / cave dweller architecture prototype relic that spawns trees. And it does so in the story by burning up splinters, which is also physical shards, not just currency, and actually recordings of people's lives. But they're now being used by the freebooter to regreen and use their organic technology to bring back pines, in this case, trees. And you can find these, you will be able to find these on the map as fixed locations. So I just made one here. There'll be 6 or 7 of them. So you get plenty variations of that building, and you drop it. Let's say I want to create a forest somewhere, or let's make. And you can't do it in the salty sea, of course. Even though I don't know lore-wise if the sea is salty in this universe. I suspect it might be because they're drinking a lot of snow. Let's see. That doesn't have access to work. You'll need workers to get it to work. So let me try and create a quick shortcut. There we go. And now trees get born. And you can see them being grown. They have a funny, nice little animation. Different from the other build animations. And so you can create, regreen the universe. Each of these sort of arbologies, I'm calling them, or the freebooters are calling them, will, when a tree costs splinters to spawn, because you're burning up a splinter to heat them and to feed them, and they can be found in the world, and you do have to do a little fight to get them if you have combat turned on in the settings of your thing. So I've made it now that if you turn off hostile encounters, you can still have that encounter, but there won't be any combat. So it's like a free. So you can still have a peaceful run actually, and that hopefully is going to matter. Add some of the content that was useless. And you can see I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I'm still fiddling with here a tree is floating, how to fix that. But overall, it's they're sort of also waving in the wind, and when it storms, they wave quite a lot. Still feeling with that, and I have a nice shader that fits the style. And I made them stand out a little bit so that it really looks like it's a cool addition to your city. It makes things, melt into the how do you call it? Trees. And there's another thing you can see in this. Look, I've made curved iron tier battlements with a new type of building, which is some of the art that I actually made for the Falconeer remaster we just saw and brought back into Bulwark. So I just did this today. It's looking quite good. It's just gonna give, it's gonna work exactly the same like the stone one. You make a stone tower, and then and I'm gonna add an icon to it. That's too long, and it's gonna be what's that? The 5th pip. And I already forgot. No. Or it's not working in my build. That's nice. Oh yeah, so it's that one. But I'll make the icon on the build line a special icon also for the stone. So that's actually what I was working on just before I decided to do a stream. I think that adds quite a nice little build update, new architecture to fiddle around with. I also showed you, I don't have it in this save file, a building called, I forget what it's called. It's called the Nonagram, which is, I don't know, just some, like a nine pointed star. And then the official name fucked up. And the Nonagram are going to be like, it's a joke on the pentagram, of course, the Pentagon. So the Nonagon are a organization that does subterfuge and spying in the Ursea. So when you, how do you call it? When you find them, I haven't decided if there's going to be like and please let me know in the comments or in the Discord. Either there are going to be a few locations of them on the map where you can go and acquire subterfuge services, or they are going to be a unique building you acquire and place in your base. And that then allows them to sail up, perhaps, and offer you certain events at certain times. So sort of similar to the diplomacy system. It's very simple. You get an encounter, and once you have that encounter, they'll offer you a variety of fairly basic espionage type stuff. But that might be removing a army of another city that you might want to counter. I think that might be very expensive. The main purpose is gameplay-wise, so mechanic design-wise, is mopping up. So you've conquered a few of the main settlements and you want everything, then you can go to the Pentagon, and acquire the last remaining cities. Say, hey, I just want to buy these. I don't want to fight them, and get you to your target quicker, and reduce grind in a way. But it's also a nice splinter sync, because it's going to be expensive too. So, but they will also offer up treasonous commanders. That's my thinking. So certain commanders from other factions, which you might offer their services, and then you can acquire them and use them, even though they might be of a hostile faction. That way you can complete the soul tree even if you messed up or destroy the faction. You still get these options to do these little system breaking acquisitions, basically. So that's basically it. It's not a giant feature. It is a new feature. I think it will bring some life, some ways to spend your cash, as it were. And maybe someone wants asking for a submarine. Maybe I'll make it that there is a little submarine that comes up and with a question mark that offers, hey, today we've got on service this. You can acquire, I don't know, Imperial Peak for 20,000 splinters because you defeated them and they're weak and something like that. So that's and they have a really nice, cool building with a 9-pointed star, which looks sort of. I've shared it in the Discord. So that's also in this update. Initially, I was going to call the update Behemoth, but it's now got a lot of other content. And the other thing that's top of my mind, why I've been busy with a remaster and doing all this other stuff, is that I need to make some long-term plans, and I haven't started on a new game yet. I've been supporting Bulwark, making this remaster, and that's getting to the point where Bulwark, if I'm really brutal, it's selling well, but it's not, it's only selling when I updated it, and it's break even in a sense. How do you call it? It's break even. It's break even its initial develop, but it's not paying for this 18 months post release. Even though when you're buying the DLC, but it's all small bits. So it's small bits do add up, but it's always fighting the stream towards profitability. So I know the one thing that is already in production and you've seen it flying around is the Behemoth Surveyor. That's going to be in the update, and I'm contemplating, and I'd love some feedback, maybe make a DLC for an additional Behemoth, like another one or a slicker one or another, combat focused, because I know you love that, just to have that design extra. There's one in the update and there was one DLC. I've also learned some stuff from talking to Valve and other developers that perhaps it's wise to make more expensive DLC and not all this stuff. Stuff I'm digesting to get it, to keep things going, because I don't want to really start with the new game. I'm still enjoying making stuff for Bulwark. But that's also why the remaster is there. It was something I could do, and hopefully it will make some money, which I can put in game development in a new game. And then I can move some time, do that a little later, and move into working on Bulwark a little longer. So that's all the stuff I've been focusing on. So I thought I will have a chat and show some of this stuff. I'm gonna quickly open up YouTube, see if I can see if anybody's here, but I don't think so. But it was nice to do it live for a change. Live production. There's six people watching. Oh wow. So this is the part where we're gonna do some questions. Give me some questions or suggestions. I see there's 2 people in the chat. I'm reading that, and let's have a quick chat about stuff, if you want. If not, I'm gonna close it off in a bit. So. Type any question if you have. If you don't, I do think it'd be nice to sort of do this more often and do these productions updates. So there's also plans to do, to do a bit more, TikTok and all that stuff. Likely I'll be reaching out a lot more, and things will get back to a pace where I'm more active on Discord as well. And you will see more regular updates on Steam appearing for Bulwark, and then hopefully at some point announcements. Why did you change the name of Bulwark at the last minute? How do you mean I changed the name not at the last minute, a bunch of time. Initially it was going to be Bulwark Falconeer Chronicles, and then I started having fun with it. So it's a bit of a joke. At some point people... you might not know it, but on Steam, the tags you see, so it says, the Falconeer, and would say air combat, whatever, simulation, strategy, RPG, whatever. Those tags are mostly decided by players. So they type in, I think this is a survival sim, and that will appear for most people. That is problematic. For Bulwark is a lot of genres, and people were typing in 4X or strategy, or I think a survival sim at something, or immersive sim, which is technically correct, but it also gives people the wrong idea that it's a very hardcore, challenging game and not a chill builder with some, strategy strewn on top. So I renamed it to Bulwark. I think the creative building sandbox as a hack for this, so that everybody who came in saw what it was about, and that worked really well. And then last year, and it was sort of funny, and the press picked up on it. So I was the guy that changed the name of his game. And then we did this together with the publisher, this massive evolution update in August last year that added a lot of, all the combat stuff, the sailing with the boat, the naval command, revamped so much that the publisher said, can we rename it once more and have some fun with it? And we called it the Evolution Update, and then Bulwark Evolution Falconeer Chronicles. I think at some point it will just need to go back to Bulwark Falconeer Chronicles, or just Bulwark even. I don't mind. It's not a biggie. So that's where that came from. So, yeah. So that's one question. I've put the game back on because I think it's looking quite nice with the trees. I'm quite happy with it. And it's a nice backdrop. Better than my face. So this is sort of I set up all this streaming stuff before the holidays, and I did it once or twice. But I'm going to try to do it more often. And but this is just a test to see technically if it worked, and show a select and have a video for everybody that's there where they can watch back and get a tease of what happened at Gamescom. So that's all in motion. And yeah. So I'm going to thank all three of you for watching. And I'm going to save this so other people can see it and dump it in the Discord. And we're going to have follow-up discussion on Discord where I'm always there. And I hope it's nice to see that good work's being done and the game is progressing. Updates are coming, and yeah, I'm just trying to keep the show rolling. All right, cheers. No.